Nothing says you care like crypto.
So I wanted to share this with you guys because you know how I feel about Gen Zers and the baby boomers. The baby boomers stole our futures, and Gen Z is helping to make society or the world a much more difficult place. So millennials are tossing their boomer parents out onto the streets. This is surprising, but I guess it should not shock everyone. You know what the boomers did was they kept all of the wealth for themselves. They stole all of our money, and now they're basically beginning to pay the consequences of this. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of millennials tossing the boomers out onto the streets and what this means for society going forward. Also, don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. Our Rumble is linked to the description of the video, so you can go and follow us there. And if you're missing content from the Angry Guy channel, where most of our content is coming out exclusively over there now, so go and follow us over there. We'll go ahead and jump right into the first video and then into our article. After a message from Angry's Crypto Academy, you guys know the drill. Hard times have arrived. ATMs will stop working and banks will chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy offers comprehensive courses, expert investment guides, and our exclusive crypto blueprints to teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. You'll learn exactly which coins have the potential to create new millionaires and how to spot the best investment opportunities. Don't miss out. Secure your financial future now. The Academy is linked in the description of the video. And now we'll go ahead and jump into the very first video. I want you guys to really fully understand how bad things are and comprehend that things are only going to get much worse because of the very, very evil actions of the baby boomers.
Like to make their kids feel guilty. They like to go, you could never afford it. They like to tell you how cheap the house was when they bought it. And then this is every Thanksgiving or Christmas, somebody will go, pick this up for 200 grand. Now it's worth 1.8. Yeah. And then it's their millennial kids are sitting there saddled with student loan debt. And the boomers are, it's their last fuck you before they leave the planet.
Yeah.
They're a spiteful generation of monsters. I respect it. But their last fuck you before they leave the planet is instead of selling their houses for, I don't know, a $900,000 profit, they just won't put them on the market. Some boomers, which is hilarious, that we read the articles on my show, they're actually retiring to bigger houses. They're sizing up. It's sick. It's like insane. And so that becomes an issue too of like, you know, it used to be like you would have a house, the kids would move, you'd stay in it probably for another 10 or 20 years, and then you'd get a condo. And you'd go, I'm out. The fuck do I want to mow lawn for? Yeah. Now the boomers are going, this is the only thing we have that makes us truly valuable in society is that we own this like a McMansion. And we're not giving this up. We are tax-paying citizens, and we are not giving this up. And our kids are going to come here every year, and they're going to suffer through the size of our house with 9 empty bedrooms while they live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we're gonna chastise them for their decisions and their choices.
And the McMansion defines you, and your car that you drive up to the
That's
McMansion
right.
in, all that defines you. Where are you vacationing?
That's right.
Where are you going?
That's right. And they're going to go, because they all bought those houses for very little money, and they are going to hold them over everybody's houses until they are found dead in them. They will not leave those houses until they're taken out in an ambulance. The most important thing for the boomer is to be right. And that's their main thing. They're not a soulful group. They've been around forever, but they've attained very little wisdom. It's actually kind of impressive. They're the most American generation of people that have ever lived. They're deeply selfish, self-aggrandizing, paranoid, delusional. But one of the things that makes them right is what they have. They go, well, how can I be wrong? Look at this fucking house. Look where we're sitting. I've got 13-foot ceilings. Don't tell me you know about Gaza. You don't.
I have to pee so bad I can't hold.
You know, guys, the effing boomers, man. They stole our futures while we were still in diapers. And if we talk about it, they tell us to shut up and take accountability. These are horrible people. They know nothing about the world. You know, I had this one boomer who was talking crap, and he like sent $10 to me via PayPal, and I was like, I don't remember. He started talking a lot of crap about how I should be so grateful. I'm like, dude, you sent me, I think it was $10, and I was like, dude, you sent me $10 via PayPal, and he was like asking for stuff like, I don't know, for like a video review. I think it was a video review. He wanted me to do a video review for $10, and I basically let him know, dude, I'm not gonna do a video review for you, like, review this video that you want me to talk about for $10. Are you out of your damn mind? My prices are in description. I used to do, like, allow you guys to video request, and I'd do a video review for you guys, for it was like for like $100. And this guy sent me like $10, and he was like, I want you to review this video. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to review this video. And then he comes on, he was like in the chat, because I don't know if I was live streaming, and he starts complaining, like, oh my gosh, I gave you an entire $10. He was really like that. No, like, I gave you an entire $10, and you're so ungrateful, my good heart. And if you don't want it, could you please send it back to me? $10 freaking dollars. $10 freaking dollars. These people are disconnected from humanity. They're disconnected from society. These are horrible people. You'll notice that boomers, many of you that have boomer parents, you'll discover it along the way. That boomers have a very strange relationship with money, where they'll act like your money is nothing. They will try to get you to spend your money even when you don't have it, but they are very careful when it comes to their money and spending it on anyone else or anything for that matter. Boomers will try to get you to spend. They don't care about you. A boomer can care less about you or how you're going to survive. They are such horrible human beings. They don't care about their kids. They will watch their kids go to nothing and just sit there. There's no conversation with these are so guys. George Carlin warned us about them. He said they're very cold people. Very cold people. All right. Oh my gosh. And you know what the funny thing is? I told you all about the boomers. I said I called them a whole as a whole boomers. I told you they were doing degenerate things back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it's like it never stops. Like now you have reports coming from The Economist talking about what the boomers are actually doing in society, and it's some terrible stuff.
Boomers, the problem generation? Don't come after me. I didn't come up with that title. The Economist magazine did in an article that they dropped in January. And they're saying that boomers are acting recklessly and we're raging and partying like spring break in 1970. While the younger generations are chilling, we're throwing toga parties, swapping partners, abusing alcohol, drugs, STIs are on the rise, crime is on the rise. What's going on? Is this going on in your communities?
I mean, guys, that's the baby boomers. Remember, I said a whole is a whole, a whole is a whole. These people are doing these things. This is what the boomers are up to right now. All right. This a so-called retirement community is when the boomers retire, because they never really retire. They're going off to these luxurious places where where they're living their best lives. All right, open cans everywhere, alcohol on the ground. I mean, like, everyone's smoking everything under the sun. Like, I guarantee you they're hitting that Molly. Jesus. I don't know what to say about these people. That's why I keep telling y'all, you should not be focusing on relationships. As men, we should be focusing on getting our money. And one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to invest in crypto. If you think you've missed the boat on Bitcoin, think again. The crypto world is exploding with new opportunities. And while Bitcoin has already made its millionaires, there's still a chance for you to get in early on the next big wave. I've put together an exclusive guide on 4 altcoins that could change the game and change your financial future. These aren't just hype coins. These are real projects with groundbreaking technology and massive upside potential. This is your chance to get in before they hit the mainstream. But listen, crypto isn't just about getting rich, it's about freedom. freedom from traditional banks, freedom from government controlled money, and freedom to take back control of your life. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy. When you join the academy, you'll learn everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, how to buy, sell, and trade the right way, how to spot the coins that can truly take off, and how to use crypto to achieve real economic freedom. And here's the best part: when you subscribe, you'll get a free copy of my crypto blueprint. This is packed with valuable tips and strategies to help you get started, and it's yours just for joining. The link is in the description below. Don't wait around and miss another opportunity like Bitcoin. Those who act now will be the ones who win big. So if you're ready to take back control of your finances and start your journey to freedom, join Angry's Crypto Academy today. Let's make it happen. I mean, guys, we could never have really expected. We should never have really expect anything from the boomers. But you know what? They're getting their payback right now in many ways. So you know they're getting their payback for what they've done to other generations because their kids are making them homeless. Their kids absolutely are. So here's an article. This actually came out pretty recently. It's from the Moneyest, which is something else. And it says the title is "He Gave Me a Week to Get Out. My son and I bought a house. Now I'm homeless and living in a car. Can I sue him? We agreed to cohabitate for 5 years, after which I would get my contribution back and there would be equity for him. My husband of 40 years passed unexpectedly in 2020 from CANCER. You know, his life insurance paid out $500,000. I sold our home. It was too much for me alone. And with the encouragement of my youngest son, funded a home so he and I could cohabitate. It had separate living spaces. We agreed to cohabitate for 5 years, after which I would get my contribution back and there would be equity for him. We split the mortgage 50-50. For the first two years, it went well. He worked and continued his education. He is a nurse practitioner. So he's basically a doctor. So he makes extremely good money. And I busied myself flipping furniture. Then she came along. My son moved his girlfriend in with us after a month of dating. She seemed kind but quiet. When I asked what her contribution would be, I was told she couldn't afford anything as she earned minimum wage. She was in college. Okay, I let it go for the time being. She was with us about 3 months before the eruption. One afternoon, I tried to call my son because his dog had dug out, and when they returned home late at night, she let me have it with both barrels while my son stood by her side. Later that night, she did come to my room and apologize, but I knew she didn't mean it. Fast forward 3 months, they are engaged and she's planning the big wedding. Now, remember, we agreed to cohabitate for 5 years, after which I would get my contribution back and there would be equity for him. Both of her parents are deceased, so the burden of paying for her dream wedding fell on me. I had a little savings after the purchase of the house, and so, yes, the wedding took that and more. So I funded the dream wedding, and everything was great. But not even a month later, my son announced they are putting the house up for sale and getting a condo. She said the yard and pool were too time consuming. The house sold immediately because it was in a good neighborhood. He gave me a week to get out. When I asked about my share of the equity, he said the house is in my name, so it is my equity. Yes, I was devastated. A friend helped me put my things in storage, and I began living in my car. I texted my son several times explaining he needed to do as agreed and repay me, but he ignored my text. I finally got him on the phone one afternoon, and he told me I would be getting nothing and to never contact him again. That was a year ago. I've lived in my car since. Do I have any recourse? Can I sue my son for the equity I put into the house, even though we only have a verbal agreement? My older son has tried to intervene and encourage his brother to do the right thing and repay me, but he has blocked his contact as well. I never imagined my son would leave me homeless. So here's the thing. I'm a part of the Gen X generation. I am a Zennial. It sounds like her son is a millennial and her older son is also a Gen Xer because she was married for 40 years. So she basically got what was coming to her. Don't get me wrong, and she ends it devastated mother. I feel like she probably left out some things, and you have to understand something. When you don't treat as a you in your generation treats people like crap, maybe she wasn't the worst mother. I don't know. I don't trust. And when your generation treats people like crap, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen, Felicia? Did you think that your kids were going to hold you down and be honorable? The boomers are the most dishonorable generation in history. Yeah, they really are. Now, do I think she's completely crap out of luck? No. I think she may end up getting something. So there was a response from the moneyist. He says, "Dear mother, it's not over until it's over, and I don't believe it's over. There were so many twists and turns in your letter, and everything, and every time another dodgy development reared its head, the house arrangement, the girlfriend, the wedding, I wanted to be your question. But what's done is done, and now you're dealing with the consequences. I'm sorry this happened to you, and I'm gutted that you lost your home to your decided son. Unfortunately, when someone comes into money, whether it's inheritance, an early retirement lump sum, or life insurance policy, as in your case, there is sometimes somebody standing in the wings with dollar signs in their eyes, waiting to make their move with a smile and an offer. And that somebody is often a family member, friend, neighbor, or even a caregiver. Typically, you live by the contracts you sign. If you purchased a house with your son's name, he was on the deed. It's challenging to undo it. However, if you're 60 or over, please contact an elder abuse attorney or three and tell them your story. They will advise you on whether to sue. Elder abuse is a federal crime, and law enforcement agencies take it very seriously. The Department of Justice defines elder abuse as the illegal or improper use of an elderly or adult with a disabilities, money, property, or other resources for monetary or personal benefit, profit, or gain. This includes, but is not limited to, theft, misappropriation, concealment, misuse, or fraudulent deprivation of money or property. Exploitation involves exerting undue influence over a vulnerable adult, causing the vulnerable adult to act in a way that is inconsistent with relevant past behaviors, or causing the vulnerable adult to perform services for the benefit of another, and the use of deception, intimidation, or undue influence by a person or entity in a position of trust and confidence. Okay, I understand that it seems like everything changed when she came out when she came on the scene, and it might be easier to see your son's partner as a bad influence, but that's a distraction. Avoid any rabbit holes that would delay you taking action. The statute of limitations for elder abuse varies by state, so the best time to take action is today. Your son, it seems clear, knew what he was doing if he tricked or convinced you to purchase a home with your money and put his name on the deed to the home. Even before he officially became involved with this woman, your son was planning to rob you. It takes a special kind of viciousness to kick one's own mother out of her home and give her 1 week to vacate. Given the amount of trust you placed in your son, and the fact that the money for the house was yours, the fact that you are now living out of your car, where is your other son? You must report your son to the authorities and at least try to regain what you have lost. There is too much at stake for you to let this lie. Now, I want you guys to understand something. A lot of the baby boomers, they're tired in the sense that they've been partying, and all they know is partying. So physically, they don't, I mean, they can. A lot of them they love to sue. So that's something that the boomers love litigation. But let me make this very clear. A lot of them can't really do much on their own. There's a lot of technicalities involved in lawsuits for hearings and all of this stuff. It's expensive. Even when you find an attorney that can help you, It's very expensive and it can be very difficult. I'm guys, the baby boomers in many ways are screwed. I'm not justifying what her scumbag son did right here, but I am pointing out that many boomers are going to find themselves in extraordinary states of poverty, destitution, and being taken advantage of by, by the very people that they raised, believing that they're going to be honest. The dishonest boomers are going to expect others to be honest, and this is what's going to come. Many baby boomers think that Social Security will be here forever. There's no chance that future generations will take their Social Security away. There's no chance that future generations are going to be dishonest, or just don't give a damn about them. And as soon as they can, as soon as they can basically take whatever they can from the boomers, they're not going to act. As we get older, the anger and fury towards the boomers grows more and more. Okay, the boomers, my prediction is there many are going, and we can already see it's happening. They're the fastest group of people currently ending up homeless in the United States. 50% of all boomers have no retirement savings at all, and then from the ones that do, 80% have less than $100,000 saved. What this strongly tells us is that the average boomer spends $50,000 a year, right around there, uh, $50,000 a year to cover their living cost. Now, if if they have left if half of them have no savings, and 80% of the other half only have less than $100,000, and the average boomer needs $50,000 a year to afford their life, to survive, anyone can see that they're heading for homelessness as a generation. They're going to basically show up at their kids' homes saying, "Hey, what's up, man? I need some help. You need to provide me with housing and food and shelter and entertainment and money so that I can live my life." And then they're going to shame you and saying that, "Oh wow, you don't have any money for me? Like, you're a loser, man. You're a real loser. Like, look at all the education you got. You got a master's. That's a doctorate, bro, and you're barely making 50K a year, man. You're a loser, man. I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed, man. You should be able to do better, little bro. Should be able to do." Guys, they don't understand. The boomers, they can't comprehend it because they're sociopaths. It's a generation of sociopaths, so they can't comprehend why they're going to be ending up in extraordinary states of poverty and destitution. Why American society is just going to turn their backs on these horrible people. I mean, they literally stole our futures while we were in diapers, and it's not going to get any better. These are really, really awful people, really, really awful people.
Pre-order my book. It's called Death by Boomers: How the Worst Generation Ruined the Planet but First a Child. And I wanted my parents to look as good as possible.
They look great.
And it's a funny book of funny stories about growing up in the 90s with boomer parents.
It's such a shared experience by so many of us. Those boomers, man, I don't know, they did the best they could. I don't know.
They didn't. And but you know what it was? They loved themselves.
Yes.
And there is something to be said for that. They love themselves. They love.
They did the best they could. That's every freaking boomer. When you bring up like how your childhood, what we went through, their response: "I did the best I could." No, you didn't, you bastards. No, you didn't.
Cruises. They love eating. They love drinking. They love golfing. And they didn't care really about their children.
Yeah.
And they loved fornication. They absolutely loved the hell out of that. And it didn't really matter who they were doing it with. It was just a matter of getting it done. Okay? Like, this is why I always say a hole is a hole, a hole is a hole. The hole is a hole boomers. They don't really care as long as there's something available, they're ready to roll, life was just one big party for these individuals, for these bad apples. They basically stole our futures while we were still in diapers. It is a miserable and sad and pathetic situation that we are now in, and it's all because of these very evil people. And then and then all they do is, like, when we talk about what they've done, they just gaslight us and tell us that it's our fault that we're suffering. My parents, they bought their house for 140K. 140K back in, was it 19, like the mid 90s, like 96, 97, somewhere around there. That was $140,000. That house is now worth over $1 million. And then they call us lazy. because we can't afford to buy property for $1 million. And if you say to them, I can't afford that, how the hell am I supposed to afford that? You know, guys, my father was making $60,000 in 1992. $60,000 with no college education, working in security, working in security. In 1992, $60,000. All right, that's how much money they were making back then. Actually, I say in 1992, it might have been a little bit before that because I was, man, it might have been before 90. It was around. It might have been okay. I remember asking him. I thought it was 92, but might have been a little bit before 92 actually. All right. It was 92 or before 92. It might have been like 1989. Yeah, man. These boomers were killing it with cash back in those days, man. They were killing it with cash back in those days. And I know for a fact cuz I remember going to the bank once and this lady, she was either a late she was either I think she was like a late Xer or something, not a late Xer. She was a Gen Xer, and she started telling me about how miserable things are now, saying that now she's making something like $15 an hour, and back in the 90s she was making like $50 an hour. She's making 15 an hour now, and back in the 90s she was making 50 an hour. And it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable what's going on. It's so unfair. And she's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And I know why she was telling me that. She just wanted someone that would listen to her. She just wanted someone that would listen because no one cares about anyone anymore. And the boomers will swear up and down that none of this is true. And then you have all of these people with now PhDs, masters who can't even, who are struggling to even make 50K. And 50K is nothing today. Depending on the state you live in, 50K is nothing. If you learn how to budget carefully, and depending on the state you live in, you can get by with 50K, but you're going to have to live below your means. Okay? You're not going to be able to live like the boomers who lived far above their means. They were horrible, horrible people. Just terrible people. And it just never ended. The party never ended, guys. The party is still going. They're still out there. They're having the time of their lives, and they're never going to stop.
Millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Y. Now, this is not a video to bitch and moan. You can still be very, very successful. With that said, this video is stating facts. And the fact of the matter is the boomers have screwed every following generation. Now, why? Well, a couple of reasons. One, they have put into place policies that have guarded their wealth, mostly in real estate and in the stock market. Secondly, the boomers are the generation that makes up the largest portion of politicians. And those politicians have gone on to spend and spend and spend. Why? Because they know that they are going to be damn well dead before it becomes a problem. So you have a generation that got extremely, extremely wealthy on the back of a booming economy after the Second World War. Then they decided to enact policies like single residence laws, like zoning laws in real estate, and like tax breaks and tax loopholes in the stock market to benefit and to guard their wealth. That has created an insurmountable amount of wealth for boomers in the form of real estate and stock net worth. At the same token, those inflated prices have made it more and more and more difficult for every following generation to be able to afford basic necessities like housing. Now, I'm not here saying that we should completely destroy the real estate market. I'm not here saying that real estate shouldn't appreciate. What I'm trying to say is that when you look at your life and you compare it to people who are older than you, and then they go on and tell you, well, you should work harder, or just get another job, or just work your way through college, or whatever. The fact of the matter is it's not necessarily that person's fault because they probably don't understand. But if you want to do yourself a favor and you want to be able to educate other people, research into the policies that were enacted during the 50s and 60s and 70s. Okay, do some research in there. Look at the trends in real estate, in stock markets, and in wages. Okay, and then look at the ownership in major companies. What age group tends to own the majority of the ownership in major publicly traded companies? Do that research, and then maybe then you can better educate your family, your friends, people who are older than you who think that you are lazy. I know you are not lazy, and just because you were not a millionaire by the time you were 30 or 40 does not mean that you were lazy. It means that you were given worse cards than the previous generation. Now, on the same token, I'm here to tell you that you are blessed to live in the day and age of the internet. It is a huge resource, and if you dedicate yourself to anything, to any sort of trade, any sort of hobby, you can make money with the internet. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. At the same token, you were given much worse cards than your parents and than your parents' parents. So, when you feel like you're struggling, when you feel like the economy sucks, it does. When you feel like wages do not keep up with the cost of rent or housing. That's you're right. They have not kept up. Historically, they have not. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that federal minimum wage has not been raised since 2009. Okay, keep all that in mind. All right. I hope this video was informative.
He had no hope at the end. It's pretty much like, yeah, you're screwed. The boomer screwed you, and I mean, just keep your head up, kid. Keep your head up, y'all. It's going to get much worse. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get much, much worse. If anything, Donald Trump has just bought us some time. Use this time wisely. Go and invest in crypto. Check out Angry's Crypto Academy. Get your money get right with God and get your crypto. When I say get your money, I mean get your crypto business in order. All right. Millennials are tossing their boomer parents out on the streets, and I do not feel bad for them. They pretty much earned it. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.